Welcome back to Umineko. So we're going to be starting up right where we left off. Right, we were on the second day. We're going to find out who died. 'Cause I'm sure someone did. And I also want to find out more about what Beatrice has been doing and how people have been reacting to her. What is that sound that always fills my ears? Is it the sound of rain? The sound of a waterfall? Or could it be radio static? If not, I want it to be the sound of blood flowing through my body. I want it to be the sound of the blood circulating throughout me, telling me that I am still alive.
朝なのか。
The light entering through a crack in the curtain was faint, but it at least told him that dawn had broken. Kinzo, still in the position he'd been when he woke up, still sitting in a chair and looking up at the ceiling, felt the blood slowly travel throughout his body. Judging by the clock, it was early morning, 6 o'clock on the dot. No matter how tired he was, no matter how deeply he slept, he always woke up at exactly the same time, or exactly this time, as though he had measured it with an hourglass. He didn't think of this as something to boast about, but he told himself that as long as he could still manage this, his health couldn't be that bad.
朝を迎えたということは、どうやら最初の生贄は逃れたということらしい。ルーレットの目が幸運だったのか、我が努力の賜物なのか。区別のつかぬところが何とももどかしいが、それは言うまい。
Enzo was struck by a faint desire to see beyond the study door. After all, he might find the traces of someone's vain struggle to break through the door, or a sign that someone had tried to select him as one of the first 6 sacrifices.
人間とは安っぽい生き物だな。人事を尽くして天命を待ちながら幸運を得られた時にはそれが単なる幸運ではなく己の技量によるものだったとうぬぼれたくもなる。
That was why he wanted to check whether there was a wretched mark on the door. Very desire was human, and that was why Kinzo did not check. He often rejected desires that came to him because he was human. By doing that, he could be immersed in a feeling of sufficiency, as though he himself had become a being that surpassed humans. He recognized human desires for what they were and guarded against them. Things that a human would want to do, he resisted. This eccentricity and rebellious nature had surely given him a rare genius, making it possible for him to succeed in his exploits as he revived the Yoshidomiya family in a single generation.
さて、ベアトリーチェ。
Interesting. So even the portrait in his room changed, which means that there's either some really weird magic at work here, even powerful enough to affect through the barriers of Kinzo's study, or there's something even more complicated going on.
お前が取った6つの駒は何なのか。そして次なる手はどう来るのか。楽しませてもらうぞ。私の守りは完璧だ。前回のような無様はさらさぬぞ。
Now I wonder if he means last time as in the previous run, or if he means last time as in when he first met Beatrice. It's hard to say, but if he means the previous run, then we could have some crazy stuff going on here. The servants woke early. They had to open the curtains, prepare breakfast, and complete various other tasks to welcome the guests to a new day. Well, that means none of the servants died, which, that's not that's not a good sign. That means it's highly likely that, like, everyone else is dead. Goda was the most enthusiastic. During the family conference, he had been told to concentrate his efforts especially on cooking, and he'd been specially exempted from several tasks that servants normally must do. Goda, who was a show-off, seemed to be feeling particularly superior because of that. He let Genji and the rest prepare the rest of the mansion, and worked on making breakfast in the kitchen. Genji split the work with Shannon and Kanon, and they carried out various tasks. Shannon headed to the dining hall and knocked. Last year, the family conference had continued into the early hours of the morning. It wouldn't have been odd if this year's conference had done the same. Considering the possibility that they were still having a discussion inside, she knocked, but there was no response. So she opened the door and said, "Good morning." The room was cold. The conference seemed to have ended a long time before. There was a tea set on the table, from which they'd probably been drinking, arranged in a way that would make it easy to clean up. Cleaning up the tea was a servant's job. If the family members were extra generous and cleaned it up themselves, the servants would lose face. So it was a truly pleasant act of kindness for the family to do only this much. As she approached the table to clean it, she noticed something like a memo that had been left near the utensils and cups. Since it was right next to the tea set, Shannon picked it up, naturally thinking it was a memo for the servant doing the cleaning. Written there was not a request, nor was it thanks for preparing the tea. There was just a single word. Shannon looked at it blankly and read it aloud. You know what? I bet that's what was inside Rosa's letter. And that's exactly why everyone went to the chapel, and that's probably where they found and met Beatrice. A small sound kept repeating over and over. Normally that sound would have been too trivial to be worth caring about. If only I could stop hearing it soon, I could go back to sleep right away, she thought vaguely. But no matter how much time passed, the sound did not end. Repeated over and over. Ah, shut up. Is it banging on the door this whole time? As soon as she realized that, she woke up. Someone was knocking. Then she noticed it wasn't just a knock, but a voice as well.
Rosa-sama. Rosa-sama. Ohayou gozaimasu.
待って、今行きます。
It had been Genji's voice. Looking at the clock, it wasn't even 7 o'clock yet. It was clearly too early to wake the guests. Something happened that was bad enough to cause this. She felt her sleepiness increasingly fade thanks to this premonition of misfortune. Though Genji was a servant, Rosa had known him since her childhood days, so even though she was slightly defenseless in her pajamas, she opened the door a crack and answered.
おはようございます。早朝から申し訳ございません。
何かあったの？
はい。実は礼拝堂に。
Genji whispered something into Rosa's ear. For a second, it seemed Rosa couldn't understand what she'd been told. After having it repeated several times, she realized that apparently something strange had happened. Rosa closed her door for a second, changed her clothes quickly, and followed Genji toward the mansion. The chapel requires some explanation. It wasn't in the mansion, but in a grove behind it, a short walk's distance away. It had been built at the same time as the mansion, though its walls had been repaired many times, making it look new from the outside. It was a very old building. Rosa dashed through the rain along with Genji. Just like the previous night, the rain was falling in earnest. Eventually, the chapel came into sight from beyond a thin grove. Just looking at it from the outside, it seemed a place of dazzling beauty where a pair of young lovers might want to get married. However, Kinzo apparently viewed it as a very sacred place, so Rosa and her siblings had been given strict instructions not to approach it unnecessarily. Even though they were all grown up now, approaching the chapel for any reason would still make them feel guilty. And also afraid, as if their father might get angry and hit them in the face. The servants' silhouettes could be seen in front of the chapel's entrance. Goda, Shannon, and Kanon, which meant that all of the servants on the morning shift had gathered. A short while ago, Genji had spoken to Rosa, telling her what the situation was. However, without laying eyes on it directly, she definitely hadn't been able to understand. It was probably the same for all the servants gathered here as well. Without seeing it with their own eyes, they wouldn't have been able to understand what was going on. On the door at the entrance to the chapel, something very large, drawn with a creepy, stringy paint that made one think of blood. Something like a creepy magic circle. Okay, so if I remember correctly, this one had to do with being set free, like from binds, released from binds or something. So that would make me assume that whoever killed this group of people is the same person who killed the first group previously. But it could also be that this is like just part of the ceremony, and whoever kills first has to do this. And still don't know how they know to do that yet, but yeah, I mean, but right now, like what I'm inclined to think is that there's the same person who's making this mark twice. Or there are two people who both have the same reason for making this mark. So two people who feel that they're in binds. Maybe Kanon would be someone who thinks that way, but we'll see.
何よこれいつ書かれたの
The servants looked at each other. Goda was the first to open his mouth.
申し訳ございません。普段はここへは立ち入りませんもので、いつ書かれたのかはわかりません。
じゃあ最初に見つけたのは誰？はい、私です。食堂へお茶の道具の片付けに行きましたら、礼拝堂と書かれたメモがあったもので。
Shannon held out the memo with a shaking hand.
誰の字？兄さんや姉さんの字ではないわね。それであなたはここへ来てこれを見つけたのね。はい。ローザ様、これを。何？
Happy Halloween? Kanon pointed at a single line of English written below the creepy magic circle. Until it had been pointed out to her, She thought it was just another part of the magic circle. There, the following words were written in English. Happy Halloween for Maria. Happy Halloween, Maria. Oh boy, Rosa's not gonna like this. This creepy magic circle is for Maria. Happy Halloween. Yesterday, only one person had said Happy Halloween to Maria. The key phrase matched. It was the Golden Witch, Beatrice.
Maria はあの子、いとこたちと一緒に寝てるはずよね。確認した。
申し訳ございません。マリア様のお名前が書かれていたことには今気づきましたので、まだ確認しておりません。至急。
何やってんのよ。私はマリアの様子を見てきます。それからクラウス兄さんたちにも知らせて。
Assuming they're even alive.
以後の対応の指示を受けて。
After saying that much, Rosa finally noticed that something was odd. Her own rank in this family conference was the lowest of the four siblings. Why had she been the only one called during an abnormal situation like this when the other siblings hadn't been? Even if Maria's name had popped up.
まさか。
はい、旦那様にご連絡申し上げようとしてお姿が見当たらず。
奥様もお部屋におられません。シーツの様子からすると昨夜はベッドに戻られていないのかもしれません。
Rosa felt something creepy crawling slowly up her back.
礼拝堂の中。
Let me guess, they didn't. There's no way they checked inside. They probably went to go get her right away. And they really should have checked inside, but eh.
まだです。確認しようとしたのですが。
Oh, there's a reason. So they tried to check inside.
実は礼拝堂の鍵は特別でマスターキーに対応しておりません。一本だけある鍵でしか開けられないのですが、その鍵がキーボックスから紛失しているのです。
Okay, so unlike the last time, it seems like this time they don't want the bodies to be found because they actually hid the key. And I think that the message saying chapel is not a message left by the killer to make people like go discover the bodies. I think that's the message that Beatrice left in the envelope. Although no, wait. Rosa would know about that if that were the case. So that might have been the message from Maria. Or it might just be a memo left by the killer. We'll see. She didn't want to get closer to the door with the creepy magic circle if she could. Rosa readied herself and approached, then tried pushing and pulling the knob. All she felt was the resistance of the sturdy lock.
入れる窓などがないか探してはみたのですが、もし中を確認するのでしたら窓を破らなければならないかと思います。
Well, they might have to do that.
いかがいたしましょう。
そんな許可私に出せるわけがないわ。
I guess she wouldn't be able to, but if it's an emergency, I don't know, I think it's pretty reasonable.
お父様の大切な礼拝堂なのよ。そんなことできないわよ。
At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. Now hold on a second, though. Genji should have checked with Kinzo, surely. I mean, he has a key to Kinzo's study. He should have clearly gone to Kinzo first, before anybody else, and checked with him. So, when they went to find Rosa, they clearly found that or it clearly said that it was just almost 7 o'clock, not even 7 o'clock yet. But when Kenzo woke up, it was 6. So that means it's possible that there's a period of time in between there where he is not in his study anymore. Or he's not answering the door anymore. Or something. At that time, the events of the previous day swirled around in the back of Rosa's mind. That's right. When I met that witch in the garden, didn't she hand Maria an envelope? Yeah, there's no mistake, she did hand it over. When Maria tried to open it, the witch told her not to do it yet, and then she surely said, "The time to open that will come soon." Rosa was sure. There could be no mistake. The envelope Maria had received was... After dashing back to the guest house, Rosa approached the cousin's room while hiding her footsteps. Softly opened the door and peered inside. From the inside, she could hear the healthy snores typical of young people. There were 4 children, and Maria was there, sleeping soundly. After breathing a sigh of relief, she entered the room with quiet footsteps. She was after Maria's handbag, which was resting on the sofa. Maria always liked carrying her treasures around with her. She was probably emulating how her mother always carried her makeup with her. Of course, she was just imitating her mother, so everything on the inside was junk. In Maria's case, it was full of small, creepy occult items, notebooks describing things of that nature, and so on. Rosa had never been happy to see her daughter walking around with things like that, which weren't girlish at all. However, trying to force Maria to stop had resulted in a big fight, so she'd decided to let it be. A Western envelope with the crest of the gold eagle. She took it out of the bag. She realized there was a heavy, vaguely cylindrical object inside. She could tell by its feel and its weight. There was no doubt, this was a key. After turning around and checking that Maria was still sound asleep, Rosa tore open the envelope and the contents spilled out into her palm. It was a key with an old and intricate design. Rosa gripped that key and dashed out. Okay, so clearly Beatrice is involved in this, obviously, because she gave this to Maria. So she knew in advance that the chapel would be the scene of what was going to go down. That doesn't necessarily mean she's the one who killed them, but she was very clearly involved in either forcing whatever went down to happen in the chapel, or in actually carrying it out in the chapel. Battler seemed to have noticed that sound, but after grumbling and turning over in his sleep, he started snoring again.
Genji-san, この鍵、ひょっとして礼拝堂の鍵ということは。
これをどこで？はい。これが礼拝堂の鍵です。
Rosa approached the creepy magic circle once again and put the key in the keyhole. There was a strong resistance. After it resisted for a short while, it stopped resisting with a clunk. Then, squeaking with a noise that hurt one's ears, it slowly began to open.
誰かいるの？
Her voice reverberated throughout the massive room. Of course, there was no answer. The chapel had a high ceiling, and the air was cold. And even on this rainy, unsettling day, it felt sacred for some reason. The servants timidly followed after Rosa.
ローザ様、あれを。
Hanan noticed it immediately and pointed. Over there was the altar. In the place that would normally have a pastor preaching of God's love, there was a table that shouldn't have been there. At first, it looked like a dining table. There actually were gorgeous plates and utensils placed there, making it look like a child's birthday party or something. Upon closer inspection, the surrounding area had been decorated with pumpkins and black and orange ribbons. They were probably Halloween decorations. There were people seated at the table, 3 people on each side facing each other, seated in chairs. They could be recognized at a glance. Kraus and his wife, Ava and her husband, and Rudolph and his wife. But if you wanted to be sure, you'd still have to go even closer and check. Because they seemed almost like dolls. Rosa and the rest had opened the door, entered all at once with the sound of many footsteps, and called out, asking if anyone was there. Yet, there had been no reaction. Even if Rosa and the rest assumed they were being ignored, you'd still expect there to be some kind of reaction. There hadn't even been that. So at first it felt like someone had set down some dolls that greatly resembled those people. By now it wasn't just Rosa. Janon and Kanon and even Goda. They were all fighting frantically with the creepy emotion that grasped their hearts. As she walked towards the altar, he called out again, but there was still no reaction. Yes, by now Rosa was sure of it. She was sure these weren't dolls, but the people themselves. They grew close enough to see clearly what lay on the table. It still looked like an adorable banquet, reminiscent of a child's birthday party. Plates piled up with sweets, cute pitchers with drinks, all kinds of pumpkin-shaped ornaments. They were all decorated in a Halloween style. While this probably wasn't the time to be thinking it, Maria surely would have been delighted to see all this. That was the state of the table they sat in front of, apparently asleep. It was an eerie scene, as though a small, fun-looking Halloween party had been stopped in time. So right now, what I'm guessing happened, aside from guessing how they all died, which I'm assuming they all died, but what I'm guessing happened is that Beatrice, magically created all this Halloween stuff just out of nowhere. She just, popped it into existence. And then at that point, they all had to accept that she was a witch. She was clearly magical. When she approached even closer to them, she realized that there were snacks scattered all over the floor. Candies, cookies, soda, and chocolates, all with heavily fantasy-themed packaging. They were all scattered across a carpet covered with blackberry and cranberry jam. Rosa and the rest finally realized what the situation was. It was a Halloween party, a banquet for those not of this world. Kraus, Natsuhi, Ava, Hideyoshi, Rudolph, and Kirie were seated in chairs, apparently asleep, but all dead. How could you tell that they were dead and not simply sleeping? That was because they'd been vertically sliced open from their chests to their stomachs. The 6 of them had sat down at a Halloween party before having their stomachs split open, killing them. And the jam covering the floor must be what overflowed from their stomachs once they'd stuffed themselves completely, right? No, the contents of their stomachs had been scattered all over the floor. That wasn't all. Out of their stomachs, it was almost as though they'd poured out. As though snacks had overflowed from there. Candies and cookies, soda and chocolates had poured out, stained with blood, and had scattered across the floor. What could have happened to cause this? It's almost as though their stomachs were stuffed full to bursting with sweets, and it all poured out when their stomachs split open. Okay, now we want to think about bombs in the food. Now there's a possibility. Like, I thought maybe the last killing was that, but it's more likely that this killing is that. I mean, their stomachs literally burst open. What else could it be? Rosa remembered a certain shocking meal, a turkey that had been served at her own birthday. When it had been cut open with a knife, out flowed one of her favorite foods. Since she hadn't been told what was inside, the deep red ketchup omelette rice poured out like bloody maggots. Pulsing, dripping, slimy, pulpy, squelching. The trauma of her youth was revived. Rosa felt a monster raging inside her stomach as the acid started to rise. Unable to hold back, she threw it all up on the floor. Her empty stomach had nothing but stomach acid. The scene in front of her was no fun Halloween party now. The three couples were enshrined right there, their stomachs vertically wrenched open with a "Gooey-go-ba?" A what? So many snacks had been stuffed in there, pulpy, squishy. Blood and guts and sweets were overflowing onto the floor. Blood-stained, sticky, sloppy, pulpy, sweet snacks that made your fingers stick together. Gummy. But stained with entrails, sloppy, pulpy. What was that I stepped on just now that didn't feel like candy or a cookie or a soda or a chocolate? I'm scared. What did I step on? I can't even look at the bottom of my foot. Shrieking. What a gruesome Halloween party. From far away it had looked truly beautiful, fantastical, and fun. But from up close it was horrible, disgusting, and yet somehow still beautiful. Rosa's wild thoughts tried as best they could to escape her throat with a loud voice that was neither a scream nor a roar. Oh yeah, we didn't have the scene where Genji found that the phones were not working, so it's possible that they might still be working this time. If a word so tied to reality hadn't come out of Goda's mouth, Rosa and the rest would probably have found themselves unable to escape that nightmarish party even now. But it wasn't because they thought the police might be able to do something. If they didn't keep yelling about the police, it felt as though another seat might be set up at this demon's party and given to them. Their own chests felt like they were expanding unpleasantly from the inside, rumbling, churning, and it was surely because candy was about to overflow from their stomachs. Rosa, once again tortured by a desire to vomit, threw her stomach acid up on the floor. Then she searched to see if there was any candy in it. Rosa coughed violently again, forcefully spitting out the stomach acid that had been burning in her throat. She realized that, by now, her whole body had been covered in a filthy sweat.
源氏さんとシャナンちゃん、お父様に連絡して指示を仰いでちょうだい。郷田さんはカノン君と一緒に行って警察に電話を。あと南條先生に来てもらう。
Why even bring Dr. Nanjo here? It was a bit too late for medical care. The servants accepted their orders and dashed outside. After watching them leave, Rosa once again stared at her siblings with whom she'd spent good times and bad, and their partners. Though there could be nothing more tragic than this scene, for some reason she was tempted to describe these fantastical deaths as beautiful. Okay, I am not looking forward to the aftermath of this one, because, like, Natsuhi was one thing, but, I don't know, Rosa being the survivor here, it's almost like, I don't know, I don't think that she's gonna be able to handle that in a very, like, calm and collected way, like Natsuhi was able to. Like, Natsuhi proved to be pretty reliable in a crisis, but will Rosa be the same? I somehow I just don't think so. Even though I like Rosa more, or at least I did before she started, or we started seeing the side of her that we're seeing in this episode, but I don't know, man. Like, especially when Maria is going to be like rejoicing at the sight of that. Like, they cannot let her see that. She's going to be like joy, like head over heels that's going on, and like Rosa's going to be extremely disturbed by that, and she's probably going to take it out on Maria.
どこに行っちまったんだろうな。
使用人室も厨房も空っぽだぜ。一体どうしちまったってんだ。
Alright, she's probably really angry because the envelope was unsealed.
"弱ったね。バトラ君、本当にローザおばさんだったのかい?"
まあ、俺も寝ぼけてたから自信はねえんだが、明け方にローザおばさんが入ってきてマリアの手提げカバンを漁ってるような気がしたんだよ。俺はてっきりマリアの手提げに歯磨きのチューブでも入ってるんじゃないかなんて思って寝ぼけてて。
なんで歯磨きのチューブがマリアの手提げに入ってるんだよ。寝ぼけて夢でも見たに決まってんぜ。
Battler vaguely remembered Rosa entering the cousin's room. Also, when Maria woke up before the rest of them, she'd started rampaging around, saying that somebody had opened the envelope she'd been keeping safe. Putting two and two together, they figured that Rosa had probably come and opened the envelope.
黄金の魔女様の封筒か。
See, like, the thing that I'm not looking forward to is just how much stress Rosa is going to be under. It's not going to be pretty, like, no matter how you think about it.
中に何が入ってたんだろう。
わからないね。でもあの封筒はおじいさまが新書に使う後宮家の家紋の入ったものだった。親族会議と無関係なものが入っていたとは考えがたいね。
She hadn't let anyone touch it, but yesterday Maria had shown that Maria had shown that envelope off to Battler and the rest a whole lot, so they remembered it well. It's definitely not going to be a pleasant reunion when they finally meet back up again.
ジョージの兄貴の言う通りなら相当重要なものらしいが、しかしそんな大事なものをどうして魔女様はマリアに渡したんだろうな。さっぱりだぜ。
Every once in a while, the refreshing morning atmosphere was completely wiped out by the sound of thunder. It was only natural. Since the moment they'd woken up, they hadn't met anyone else. Okay, so the kind of elephant in the room that I've been ignoring, even if there were bombs in the food and that's how their stomachs burst open, we still have to address how the hell all the candy got in there. I mean, clearly bombs can't just make candy magically poof into existence, so that leaves only the possibility that, like, Beatrice went in there and just stuffed their guts full of candy after the fact, or we assume that magic is real and she just kind of like leprechauned the candy into their stomachs and that caused them to burst. But if we're going with the magic is real, then I'm still going to hold by the magic is only real after the first run theory that I've been going with. It felt like it felt like only they were left, as if the mansion had become an empty husk.
Oi! 誰かいないか? 返事してくれよ!
Jessica called out into the hallway, and eventually an answer came from the entrance hall.
聞こえますとも。何かありましたか？
南條先生だ。よかった。この島から僕たち以外が消えてしまったわけではないようだよ。
南條先生、おはようございます。すみませんが、うちの親たちとかどこに行ったか知りませんか？
はて、私も今起きてこちらに来たばかりですからな。わかりかねますが、さて。
It was only natural. Nanjo was a guest, just like the rest of them. He'd come just now to pass the time in the parlor until breakfast. Maria buried her face in Nanjo's plump stomach, sobbing and crying. Nanjo could do nothing but be bewildered by this ruckus so early in the morning.
誰かかけてくるぜ。ジェシカ、誰か来るぞ。
From down the hall, they could sense people running hurriedly. They saw Goda and Kanon coming towards them. Normally it would be disgraceful for a servant to run inside their mansion, yet Battler and the rest didn't even think to question that now. Maria's sobbing had become so unmanageable they wanted to ask someone, anyone, where Rosa was. But the two servants seemed to have bigger things on their minds than Jessica, was waving at them. Goda flew into the servant room, and when Kanon noticed that Nanjo was there, he bowed and approached the doctor at a quick pace before whispering something into his ear.
何ですって？ローザさんが。
はい、ご案内いたしますので、どうかご同行お願いいたします。
Oh great, now they're all gonna follow him, and they're all gonna see that whole scene. Well, I suppose it's best they get it out of the way.
わかりました。
こちらへ。
Without saying anything more than that, Canon finally noticed Jessica and bowed to her. But he wasn't calm. He dashed back down the corridor by which he had come, followed by Nanjo. By looking at how hurried they were, Battler and the rest realized that yes, something bad really had happened. They saw Goda through the door to the servant room, which had been flung open. He was holding the receiver and violently pressing the hook. From that, they realized that he was trying to call a hospital or the police. In any event, he was trying to call someone because a serious emergency had occurred.
行ってみようぜ。
ママ、返して。マリアの手紙返して。それは黄金鏡への招待状なの。
I wonder, does that mean that the Golden Land is in the chapel? Maybe that means that the gold... Okay, hold on. The key to the Golden Land. Sure, the two will tell you of. Maybe the key to the Golden Land is literally the key to the chapel, and the chapel has certain things in it, like maybe a crossbow, which can fire those things that killed Hideyoshi and Eva, as well as maybe some bombs and other like various murder instruments, and maybe that would be also like where the gold is hidden, maybe, because it makes sense. It's this building that they've all been told never to enter, and Kinzo considers it sacred. So maybe there's like a secret passage somewhere in there where all the gold is hidden. It certainly wouldn't be out of the question. But anyway, we've got some new things here. His corpse was found in the chapel. The direct cause of death is unknown, but it seems his stomach was cut open and his intestines pulled out after his death. Okay, so clearly his stomach did not rupture from the inside out. It seems like it was literally vertically cut open, as the narration said earlier, and intestines were actively pulled out after his death. Sweets and candies were packed into their stomachs. Didn't I tell you stomachs are packed full of candy? That sounds like something Kumasawa would say. Everyone has a stomach filled with sweet dreams. Why would there be anything filthy inside someone's stomach? This is why we want to be as sweet and innocent as candy. And so I give you the land of dreams. Happy Halloween. Huh. That's twice in a row that Kitty has died too. That sucks. But I really, really want to know what they were talking about beforehand. Seems like Beatrice is probably still alive though, so we might get some answers. They didn't know what, but something was happening. Battler and the rest chased after Kanon and Nanjo. And then we realized Kanon-kun had called Dr. Nanjo, but he hadn't called us, so we shouldn't have gone with them. I wonder if Alice regretted her excess curiosity when she chased after that rabbit holding a clock.
Damn! 入ってダメ。見ちゃダメ。ジェシカちゃん、ダメ。
I'll get it over with, I guess.
母さん、父さん、何があったの？
なんだよこりゃ。趣味が悪いにも程があるじゃねえかよ。命を奪うならそれで十分事足りただろうがよ。わざわざ殺した後に椅子に座らせて腹裂いて。
It's possible that that wasn't what happened, though. It could be that they're trying to mislead us in these things, and their stomachs really did burst open from the inside out, and that was the cause of death. Fortunately, we don't have a coroner here, so we can't verify that in any way. That's the main thing that makes this difficult to solve. If we had an actual coroner, these crimes would be a lot easier to solve.
歌詞をわざわざ中に詰め込んだってのかよ。なんだってそんな悪趣味なことをしやがるんだよ。ちくしょうやってくれやがるぜ。最高だよ。
皆さんは外へ出られた方がいい。こんな姿を皆さんに見せたいなどと彼らが思うわけがありません。
Nanjo told the children to go outside, but no one listened.
ローザさん、皆さんに言ってください。こんなもの見続けては毒になる。
Rosa regretted her own carelessness. She should have realized that the children would eventually come here. She should have quickly locked up instead of standing around stunned. So the children had come here. They had seen it. Surely at this very moment they were having a sight burned into their eyes. That was far more grotesque than the shocking meal Rosa had witnessed in her youth. While she hugged Maria, who seemed to be too shocked to show any emotion at this gruesome scene, Rosa cried for them and their parents. Four groaning and crying voices, their sadness, continued to echo in a place that should have known God's love.
クソ野郎がまたかよ。またこんな殺人を。
So I guess that this is not the battler in this world. This is the battler on the chessboard outside.
しかも今度もやたらと凝った最高にふざけた殺し方をしやがって。
わらわはそんな嘆きより感謝の言葉が聞きたかったぞ。
感謝と言ったかこのクソババア。てめえ耳がいかれてやがるってんなら俺が両の耳を引き裂いてよーく聞こえるようにしてやるぜ。なんで俺がこの最高にいかれた殺し方にありがとうございますベアトリーチェ様なんて言わなければならねえんだ。ぶっ殺してやる。
前回のゲームでお前は自分の親の死に顔が見られないと嘆いたな。だから残したぞ。しっかり残した。よく拝んでおけ。間違いなく父親たちが殺されたことを。
そうかよ。そいつはサービス満点だぜ。気に入った。
感情に任せて思考を止めるな。すでにわらわのゲームは始まっておるのだぞ。わらわは今回は綺麗に死体を残すことに決めた。
Well, the fact that she says I kind of indicates that either she's the killer or she was at least involved heavily, which we already knew. Involved heavily in the crime, because I mean, who else would have put all that candy there? So I feel like we can safely say that at least the 19th Beatrice here is probably the most suspicious person here.
なぜだかわかるか？前回のゲームでそなたがわらわの存在を否定するとき、こう考えて否定したである。顔面が潰され、遺体の身元が確認できる。だから身代わりの死体を用意してアリバイを作った可能性が否定できない。その可能性が排除できない限り、人間犯人説は維持できる。
なんだと？
さあバトラ、南條に検視を任せてよいのか？ミステリーの古典では検視の医者がグルというのが伝統なのだろう。なら南條に検視を任せるな。そなたが自らするがよい。
I wonder if he can actually do that. Like, if he can actually take her advice and do things differently while the game is going on? I wonder.
間違いなく6人の死体が当人で、死んだふりなどでなく本当に死んでいることを十分に確認するがいい。お前の父親が母親が腹を裂かれて臓物を引きずり出されて殺されていることを、腹に手を入れてその手触りで確認するがいい。
泣かねえ。チキショーチキショー。泣かねえぞ俺は。
Doesn't look like he actually retains any memory or any knowledge of what's going on outside the game. Atler suddenly yelled. His tears were still dripping down, but as though scolding himself for being a sissy, he slapped his face hard several times with both hands. Even so, the tears still wouldn't stop. However, he felt a hot blaze in both his eyes.
これだけの上等を決めやがった野郎に借りはがっちり返させていただくぜ。なら泣く時じゃねえ。自分のすべきことを考えろ。ああ、ダメだぜ。全然ダメだ。涙を流す暇があったら考えろ。涙腺なんかひるませる時じゃねえ。
Rather than genuine anger, maybe it was more of an evasive anger to blot out his sadness. However, he gave a little courage to George and Jessica, who'd been crushed by the sadness.
そうだね。僕たちが泣いて怒ってしまった現実は変わらない。
じゃあどうすりゃいいんだ。私は父さんと母さんのために何をすればいいんだよ。
I'm really worried that Maria is just gonna say something really fucked up and ruin the entire mood here. Not that the mood hasn't already been ruined, or whatever that would say, or whatever that would mean. I don't know.
ローザ様、戻りました。
合田さん、警察はどうでしたか？対応の指示はいつ頃来られそうだと言っていましたか？
それが電話が故障のようでして、非常用の無線機も試してはみたのですが、その天候のせいでしょうか、こちらも通じず。
なんですって。じゃあ警察に連絡がつかないということなの？
あいつだ。あいつが電話線とかに細工して警察に電話ができないようにしたんだ。
When she heard that the phones had broken down, Jessica immediately decided that it was the work of that mysterious guest. Her eyes were bright red after so much crying, and they began to grow even redder with rage.
起きろの余地なんかねえぜ。全てが分かってる。そうだと分かる。父さんと母さんを殺したのは誰だ。決まってるぜ、あいつだ。昨日来たとかいう魔女様に決まってる。襟首ひねり上げてやるぜ。チクショーチクショーチクショー。ジェシカちゃん、お待ちなさい。ゴーダさん、カノ君、行って。
はい。お嬢様、お待ちを。
Covering her uncontrollable sadness with anger, Jessica ran outside, torn apart by emotion. Thinking about it hastily, maybe the mystery guest who'd arrived yesterday, Beatrice, was suspicious. However, in that instant, there was absolutely no proof that she was the culprit. At this point, she's just another guest, no more, no less. So Rosa, making an adult decision, was forced to stop Jessica in her rash rampage. Goda and Kanon picked up on this immediately and chased after her.
誰にも招かれなかった客人ベアトリーチェが犯人なんだろうか。
ジェシカの気持ちもわかる。そう思い込みたい気持ちは俺にもある。誰でもいいから犯人ってことにして横っ面をぶっ飛ばしてやりたい気持ちがある。だがその前にはっきりと理解する必要がある。ベアトリーチェってのは何者なんだ。俺は顔すら見てねえぜ。
顔ならお屋敷に大きな肖像画で飾られてたよ。あれだけ見てまだ覚えられないのかな。
なんだよマリア、こんな状況で何がおかしいよ。
ベアトリーチェは魔女なんだよ。そして黄金鏡の扉を開くための儀式がいよいよ始まったの。この6人はその生贄なんだよ。さあさあ始まるよ、魔女の宴が。今宵はハロウィン。魔女たちが今こそ祝い集う。
マリア、その気持ち悪い声で笑うのをやめなさいっていつも言ってるでしょ。
The crisp sound of Rosa slapping Maria's cheek echoed through the high-ceilinged chapel. At least this time, though, it was totally deserved. I mean, come on. Ever since it started raining yesterday, no, ever since the island was swallowed by the typhoon, I felt as though something was wrong. It was bright and sunny when I arrived on Rokanjima, but since I'd gotten up early and was sleepy, I took a nap. When I woke up, it had already started raining, and ever since that time, suddenly a mysterious visitor calling herself the Golden Witch Beatrice arrived, and it felt like I was sinking bit by bit into a bizarre world. What the heck happened while I was napping? Am I supposed to believe that this island was sealed off inside a different world where common sense doesn't apply? Who is this person called Beatrice? I don't know why it's showing us the old portrait now. It feels like maybe this is Battler's memory, so he remembers the old portrait, and that's the one that he looked at for so long. But then the portrait changed after the fact to the new one in the skirt. Is some unknown person trying to involve themselves with the inheritance problem, just like our parents were freaking out about at dinner last night? Or is the culprit this witch from the Legend of the Gold, just like Maria said? Even if we set Jessica's temper aside, given the circumstances, it's probably safe to say that this visitor person is the most suspicious. But we mustn't make up our minds based on that alone. Ah, it's useless. It's useless. It's all useless. I smacked my face with both hands again, cooling off my brains before they overloaded. Even though it might have been a wasted effort.
これは おじい様の封筒。
On a tray piled up with sweets that decorated the table, George Aniki found a Western envelope that had the Ushidamiya family crest done in on a gold leaf. It was unopened.
ってことはそれは俺たち宛てってことじゃねえのか。親父たちが読んだものだったなら開封されてるはずだぜ。
その推理は正解のようだよ。書いてある。残されし者たちへって書いてあるよ。
Those who remain. It specifically says those who remain on the second twilight will be the ones that will tear apart the two who are close. So I think that means that those who remain, that being everyone else here, is going to tear apart George and Shannon without Beatrice having to even do anything. I have a feeling that's going to be the case. Because there's nobody else who's close, really. There's Canon and Jessica, if you count them, maybe, but not really. They're not close. They're just, there's someone who could have been an item, but weren't.
それは犯人が残した手紙なの。中身。
兄貴、開けようぜ。
After nodding silently, George Aniki broke the seal. A folded letter came out.
読むよ。六軒島へようこそ。後ろ宮家の皆様方。私は金蔵様にお仕えしております。当家顧問錬金術師のベアトリーチェと申します。
That letter really was a joke. Miss Beatrice, who called herself the family alchemist, had announced that she was collecting the gold she'd lent grandfather along with interest. And that interest was everything grandfather had created. Since this tragedy was right before our eyes as this paragraph was being read aloud, it clearly wasn't referring just to the wealth that grandfather had built up. It was literal, everything that grandfather had created. In other words, all of grandfather's descendants were included in the interest.
ふざけなんてめちゃくちゃな契約だ。黄金の利子は命だってのかよ。そんなのまるで悪魔の契約じゃねえかよ。それで魔女気取りってわけか。はっ、笑わせやがるぜ。
特別条項。
And now it's showing this one again. I'm not really seeing any sign of, or any sort of pattern when based on like when they show each portrait.
ただし隠された契約の黄金を暴いた者が現れた時、ベアトリーチェはこの権利を全て永遠に放棄しなければならない。黄金の隠し場所についてはすでに金蔵様が私の肖像画の下に碑文にて公示されております。つまりこういうことだね。もしこの殺人が利子の回収行為だというなら、それを止める条件としておじい様に与えた隠し黄金を探し出してみろとこう言ってるんだよ。そしてその秘密は例の肖像画の碑文に隠されているとも言ってる。
If you think about it in terms of like a more grounded motive, then it could be literally that Beatrice wants the gold back. She doesn't know where it is, and so she's using these murders as a way to motivate people to find it so that she can get it back.
つまりこいつは魔女さんの挑戦状ってわけか。黄金の隠し場所を記した暗号文を解けるものなら解いてみろと。そしてそれができなきゃ利子の回収をこの後も着々と進めていきますと、そう言ってぶっ殺してやる。上等だ。
バトラ君、これ
The table was covered with sweets. So even though those things are right out in the open, we just assumed they were sweets too. I mean, come on, you see them a lot, right? You know, those boxes of chocolate shaped like gold ingots. Okay, so it's like I first guessed. Beatrice used this gold to convince them that she was the witch. Yeah. And then she also used... Or no, like, actually that means that it doesn't necessarily have to be her who prepared all this candy. Could have been anyone, really.
本物だ。こりゃ本物の金塊だ。片翼のわしの紋章が刻印されてる。前に母さんが話してたのを聞いた。これはおじいさまの黄金伝説の金塊だよ。
Gold ingots weighing a full 10 kilograms. All 3 of them piled up in the very center of the table. It was where a cake would be placed if it was a birthday party. In other words, this was without a doubt the birthday cake of the party known as the family conference.
これが本当に純度49のインゴットだったなら6000万円くらいの価値はある。
バカ野郎！安すぎる！俺たちの親が6人も殺されて、そこに積まれた黄金がたったの6000万円だと！バカにするんじゃね
え。さあ始まったね、ベアトリーチェ。どうせこの謎は誰にも解けないよ。だから絶対にベアトの勝ち。早く黄金鏡への扉を開いて、そしてマリアを連れてって。
お嬢様、どうか気をお静めください。
Alright. Well, we're gonna end there. I think the biggest thing is that we just need more information. We need more clues. Because I don't think we were given enough information to solve the murders so far anyway. I feel like there's gonna be we're missing one puzzle piece. Or maybe a lot of puzzle pieces, but I don't know, I don't feel like we have enough info. Because just going by alibis isn't enough to go on. We need more than that. We need to know how they were killed. We need to know everything about the murders, so I'll see you guys next time. Till then, just take care. We'll pick up next time. Alright.